Candy Podcast, episode 763. Wait, is that right? Yeah, 763.
Yeah, probably just like 1 million billion. Anything over like 700 at this point sounds about right.
A lot of episodes.
A lot. How are you, Suze?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing well. You're going to hate this, but we had our first POW day and we went skiing for the first time, snowboarding. So it's like amazing that like it's not even Thanksgiving yet. And
yeah, what is like the official, isn't there like an official day that it opens or something?
Each mountain's different. They do it based on the snow and the.
Oh, that's what I wondered.
There was one run that was open. It was just insane.
Oh, really?
It was like a traffic. It was hilarious. And people are just zooming by.
Why do they only open one though? What are we doing?
Because there's not enough snow coverage on the mountain and it's just one run where they blew snow. They do like the man-made snow to fill in the gaps.
This seems dangerous.
It was so fun.
Well, like,
it was great.
What if you run into somebody?
That is something that I saw happen twice that day. You definitely have to look out. And it's the people who don't know what, obviously, like the noobs who don't know what they're doing. And then it's the dumbass, like 21 to 24-year-old guy who's really good, who forgets that this is everybody's first day of the season and is just like going off jumps and just
calm down.
Ruckus, hooligan.
Oh, I do not like a commotion at all.
No, me either. So I don't like that. That I was like, I felt like an old lady when I was like, no, too fast, sir.
Good, Sarah.
Not okay.
I want you to police those slopes.
I am. But
good.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, once I saw you were out there, I'm like, oh no, do I have to mute them already?
Yeah. You better get that mute finger ready. Yeah.
I do wish, because you know how on the site formerly known as Twitter, you could mute like topics. So I muted like the Kardashians, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's smart.
It's too much.
Who needs that?
It's too much.
Right.
But
I
you
mute
can't
like
do
reality
that.
TV stuff because like they don't know.
Right.
I unfollow every single person on there, not because I don't like them as people, but because I like don't need any more challenge stuff in my life. And then Twitter and Instagram, all social media, still wants to suggest this to me because they don't know the difference between me liking reality TV and being on reality TV.
And I think they see who's in your phone contacts.
Oh.
And they're like, this gal loves reality people.
Right.
Boy, are they wrong.
Gosh, it's like we so willingly like accept, add, put this in our phone, like add this number, the lengths I had to go to remove an ex-boyfriend's birthday from my Google, and it was like
for real. It was on your calendar, you mean?
Yes.
And you couldn't get it off. They were acting like it was a holiday.
Oh, it was deeply embedded in there. Like I had to go to my contacts, delete his birthday from my contacts, clear the contacts, delete all the there are multiple steps.
I don't love it.
I don't love it either. We have a
Trouble's
app for
brewing.
freaking everything, and we don't have there needs to be like a breakup app that's like this. All this person's info
is a great idea.
Bye bye.
That could be your Shark Tank idea. You know how I'm going to make silent windshield wipers?
Yes, we talked about that.
You can make the breakup app.
The breakup app. Now all I have to do is
very
learn
handy.
How to code.
Step one.
That's okay. How do I turn on the computer?
If anyone can do it, it's you. Right. Oh, God. I have to tell you, since I'm laughing so hard, I cannot tell you how many emails, more than we have ever in our careers as podcasters. Recently, we have gotten so many messages about people just saying, like, thanks for being hilarious and being a break, like, from what goes on outside of the studio that we do not discuss. Because people are, having troubles.
It's wild out there.
It's wild. It's opening day on the slopes, except with way worse consequences.
And, yes, absolutely. And everybody's going fast. And, oh, God. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think you should know. People appreciate your hilarity and levity.
Well, thanks.
It's so nice.
I appreciate all of you listeners. I've just, decided to be like, whatevs.
Yeah, you got to whatevs it.
And, the more you know, the more you don't know. So we're all just like...
Peace, love, dope in it over here.
Dummies over here.
But we're fine with it.
Totally fine. Yes.
Did you see on my Insta story the rave review I gave the Yogi Berra documentary?
Oh, I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
First of all, which came first?
The man.
Okay, that's adorable.
It's adorable. Yogi Berra was named after Yogi Berra, the baseball player.
And there's a great camp song about Yogi Berra, so...
Sing it.
I got a friend that you may know, Yogi. I got a friend that you may know, Yogi Berra.
Do you mean Camptown Races?
They changed it.
They
all live in
lyric.
Jellystone, jelly. They all live in Jellystone, Jellystone. Oh, Yogi has a little friend, boo boo. Yogi has a little friend, boo bear. Boo bear.
Whoa, okay.
Boo bear. Yogi has a little friend, boo bear. Yogi has a girlfriend,
God.
Cindy.
There's
Cindy.
more?
Well, there's a lot of bears.
Holy
Just
heck.
Cindy and that's it. Yogi and
Boo boo.
watch me. Not watch me. Mark my words. This song will end up on TikTok or Instagram in about 3 to 5
Viral
years.
hit.
There will be a hit. We will have a remake of Yogi. It'll probably be like some live action Scooby-Doo kind of thing. I know they already did that, but they'll do it better because it's probably been 20 years. This is how it goes.
Yeah,
The
you
end.
heard it here first.
You heard it here.
Predicted on the show.
Okay, back to our documentary.
Back to the real man, Yogi Berra, baseball player for New York Yankees. Well, as you know, I hate sports, but I love sports documentaries.
The most.
But if I had to pick a sport, I really love baseball because, Field of Dreams. My favorite movie of all time. Kevin Costner.
Okay, you may say that I just say whatever and you can't predict it, but you're like, because Field of Dreams. Like, I'm supposed to know that. Like, that's like, I love boxing because, Rocky.
That is my second topic today.
I know. That's why I picked that.
That's so funny and also true.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
so
God, that's great. Yeah, baseball is fun because it's a sport you get to watch but also not watch at the same time.
Yeah, and it's all about sort of nostalgia. It's very wholesome Americana.
I remember when I went to my first game and learned that the 7-inning stretch is an actual physical stretch you do. I thought it was like an amount of time. They were just saying like, I thought it was like kind of like hump day, like Wednesday is like a long day. I was like 7th inning. Yeah, that's kind of like we're probably like ready to go. And it's like a little stretch, just like feels longer. But then people got up and I was like, wait, you actually stretch? This is the cutest thing in the world.
Well, and
this
imagine
is like
my
Sarah learns
delight
about baseball.
that you're sitting so long that you have to like force yourself to get up. This is my kind of sport.
Thing.
Yeah, right. I am all in.
Oh.
So, here's why I love it, and you will too. It's just a special story because Yogi Berra, you probably know what he's famous for, which is his yogiisms. So he says things that don't make any sense, but then like they do, where it's like this weird... He's known for saying these things. Like, he's the guy that coined the phrase, it ain't over till it's over.
Oh, well,
where it's but it doesn't make sense, but it does.
Yeah.
Well, of course it's not over till it's over, but it's not over till it's over.
Not over till it's over. Right.
And he said,
wow, could you imagine coining the phrase, it ain't over till it's over?
I know.
That's like inventing the circle.
That's exactly like that. Why didn't we invent a phrase?
I'm so upset about it. Like nothing.
I know what you're saying.
Why?
There's still time, though. We'll start working. We'll workshop some ideas. He said, like, it's deja vu all over again.
What? I love that one, too.
You're kidding. You love Yogi Berra. You didn't even know it.
I honestly, I did not know that he had any of those phrases.
Yes. Okay.
I should see this.
So here's
and also,
the problem,
he's
though.
adorable, right?
He's so adorable. Yes. his real name's Lorenzo. He's like an Italian guy, but he looked like a little Buddha when he would wait to go to bat. So they called him Yogi when he was a kid. And then it just stuck. But what's sad is that he became so famous for his sort of personality, and he was so lovable, and he was very kind and gentle and said funny things that like people forgot that he was really good at baseball.
Oh, yeah.
And
This
like,
happens.
so his grandkids like want to solve that, even though it's a cool thing to be known for your personality
You're just
too.
like such a great guy that
Yeah. But I think that was the intention, was like, this ain't right. They had all
this
these
is like the opposite side of what I want to say Daryl Strawberry, but it's not Daryl Strawberry. Nope, it's not him. It's the one who had a bunch of starts with the C.
Okay.
The basketball player, Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt Chamberlain.
This is the
Well,
positive side of
right.
that. Where you're
Instead of
famous
being
for,
like horny,
right.
you're famous for being really sweet
Yeah.
and lovely.
And I bet people out there are like, Daryl Strawberry works too. He's famous for narcotics instead of what, And so, no, that wasn't what I was
Yeah,
going
he's
with,
a pastor now.
But, oh, okay.
Yeah, just there you go. I know way more about baseball than I thought.
Yeah.
I also know a lot about wild grain bread, if you'd like
me
to know anything about
too.
that.
I ate half a loaf.
Stop.
But you know what? It's fine because I didn't even have a tum-tum because it's got all that good fiber and none of the crap.
Yeah, slow
But
fermented.
look, I made a delicious pasta that was very saucy, and I had so much sauce left
so
over.
good. That's
and
the
it was
best
like what am I going to like not soak up
Right.
all that delicious sauce with bread?
Obviously,
No
carb left behind and no sauce left behind.
Yes.
Here's what they will send you to your door. Breads, pastas, pastries, everything that you could ever bake up and
Yes.
eat. And it's delicious. And it comes frozen. And then you just take it out whenever you want to eat it. And in no time flat, you're eating like fresh baked, delicious bread. And now you can fully customize your wild grain box. So you can get any combination of breads, pastas, and pastries you like. If you want a box of all bread, all pasta, all pastries, you can have it. Plus, for a limited time, you can get $30 off the first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/braincandy to start your subscription. You heard us, free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/braincandy. That's wildgrain.com/braincandy, or you can use promo code braincandy at checkout.
Yes. If you get that box and get those croissants and you don't think that they're the best ever, go ahead and take a picture of the one that you find that's better than that. Because I'll wait, really, because I've been to all the best bakeries in Denver and none of them beat that.
Yeah.
That's
So
fact.
we're just telling you, you're chasing the wind on that one. Okay, anyway, it's great, and it's very heartwarming, and I cried, and...
I love a good sports doc.
What?
I have one that you should watch that I
Okay.
thought was really good. It was called The River Runner.
The River Runner.
Yes, and it is about it was good and it was interesting. It was about kayakers, like kayakers who what they call run the river, which is just like go down these insane rivers. And there's a place in Tibet where rivers flow in all four directions. They're starting at the mountain. There's a river that flows north and one that flows south and one that flows east and one that flows west. And they're like on a quest to conquer all four of these rivers. And it's just like man versus nature and man versus himself kind of stuff, which is great. And then the other one was called Race to the Summit, I think it was. And major controversy, and I need you to watch it.
Well,
so
I
you
smell
can see.
trouble because this sounds like an Everest situation.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure if the guy who claims that he made it to the top actually made it to the top.
The only thing worse than trying to do these extreme sporting things is to pretend you're doing them.
I frickin' agree. And I think the documentary hinted that he did cheat and he didn't make it.
What a fucking douchebag.
I know. I think
I
so
hate
too.
you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll give these a try, but I generally don't like quests. I don't like quests.
It's not quest. It's like,
I don't love feats of strength.
Look at this. No, it's not like that either. It's kind of like, I think why you like the sports stuff. What we're not passion. Talking about alpineering or whatever, mountaineering. Right. We're talking about two people's competitive drive and what really matters and because it's not about them. It also feels like it relates to, in a weird way, like the challenge and stuff.
Yeah, I hear that.
Like what becomes more important, everybody knowing that you made it to the top and
the glory or the accomplishment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you know how you talk about how when you ask people what they're proudest of, it's never like their car or some dumb thing that they bought or whatever.
Right.
But it's something they earned. But then I do think there can be like where what part of what people get into is like the praise that they might get for stuff. So that's a fine line right there, huh?
Yeah. It's really interesting. like it's worth a watch because I want to discuss it.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, I'll watch it.
Especially at the end.
Well,
and the River Runner, Eli really enjoyed that one too. Adam and Lincoln will like those.
Well, and that's part of why I love the Yogi one is because he reminded me of Adam.
Oh!
And Adam gets like a shit on all the time because he's really just kind and gentle. And he always says, like, don't mistake my kindness for weakness. Because a lot of men in particular do. And I don't like it. Yeah. And so anyway, I like that Yogi is that kind of a guy. And, that they're trying to make sure everyone knows he's also really great at baseball.
Yeah.
It's so cute. Yeah. Okay. Did you watch that Stallone documentary?
No, not yet.
You just knew that I was going to?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I did. You were right.
He's so cute.
You think?
Not like older, obviously, because he's had some work done and I don't like that. But I think when he was young, I do. There's something about him that I like.
Okay. Well, apparently a lot of people did because, I think he was a sex symbol back then, right?
I even though Joe Rogan said this about what he likes in women, I say this about, the same goes for men. I want a guy who looks like he could help me move a couch.
Joe said that about his type of woman?
He said he likes a sturdy woman. He wants somebody who looks like she could help him move a couch. And I was like, oh, that's I could do that.
You have the same type as Joe Rogan.
I have the same type as Joe Rogan. And I may be his type, actually.
Right.
I'm sturdy.
Well,
so Slisto looks like he's like moving a couch. And it's like a different than like it's like wants to and is willing to, and then will also help maneuver, like he's running the show. So I feel that vibe from him.
I should have predicted that you would find him attractive because he does have a Kenny Santucci vibe.
Oh,
from
yes,
the challenge.
very much. And we love Kenny.
Yeah, like that. I guess Stallone is Italian. I mean, this is obvious, right? Okay. Yeah. And it's sort of like that dumb look. Like they look like he has like ceiling eyes, where they're like kind of up top.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Anyway.
And he's kind of like, hey, guys. Like,
well, that's for sure.
Hey. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to cook for you.
Right.
What is that about? I want to do your laundry. Why? Something biological and weird.
Yeah, because he's like a caveman and he would like protect you and then you would feed
that's
him.
Probably it. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Well, so of course, naturally, I'm going to be comparing the Arnold documentary to the Stallone documentary because these are, contemporaries. They were very competitive with each other. They were always trying to outdo each other. And so like I wondered whether I would love it. And it's a totally different vibe. The similarity is that weirdly, neither of their like women or kids were in either one, which I thought was strange. Like, how they interview people.
Yeah, and doesn't Sylvester Stallone have like a lot of kids and like hot daughters?
Yeah, beautiful daughters. And his wife, Jennifer, is very beautiful. And they've been together a really long time.
Oh, I love that. I love when I hear that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
But
so good.
they weren't in that. But the difference is these are men in their 70s looking back on their life. And in Arnold's case, is why I love it. He's very much about like his legacy and wanting to continue doing good work and like making a difference and like being inspiring. And Sylvester is full of regret. And it was sad. And that's hard for me. And I need you to like help me deal with it.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What does he regret besides the plastic surgery?
What if he was like all these fillers?
I mean, I would start there. I would like, it feels like that.
I like though that he acknowledges that he looks weird. Like he's not like
he
thinking
did?
he's hot stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
he shouldn't have done that. He should, like, men just everybody stop.
He had a terrible upbringing. His father was physically abusive and it's the worst I've ever heard somebody share in terms of like parental abuse. And he was like writing these characters, which is, remember when I called him the modern day Shakespeare because of I Pity the Fool?
Yes.
But I mean, there is something to the fact that he was writing all these movies and
when you say the actual full sentence of "I pity the fool," that like it does sound Shakespearean and poetic. So like this was a past episode. If you're like, what the fuck is Susie talking about? I'm telling you, we looked up the script. We looked at like who
came
credited
up with
that. It was a whole thing, and so like it really did sound Shakespearean. So I'm making sure that people know.
I also need to know who it is that invented Relief Band because talk about genius.
Here's I had kind of like a dumb aha moment, I guess.
What?
I was like, okay, I get it. When I'm driving in the car, when you're on a boat, motion sickness, I use it for that. I use it for motion sickness in the car, like I'm not going on a windy road without it. I did not realize that you could just use it if you have a upset stomach or nausea.
Yeah.
Any other time.
Right.
Like, it is very good for when I'm experiencing pain in a way that gives me nausea. Hello.
Right. All your issues inside. Yeah. That's great.
Like, it helps all nausea.
All of the stuff. Yeah. Hangovers, morning sickness.
Yes.
Just bad belly. Whatever. I know. Miracle. So
actual
Relief
miracle.
Band, you're doing the Lord's work. This would be a great stocking stuffer. I'm just saying. It's natural, fast acting. You just wear it around your wrist. Drug free, non-drowsy, no side effects. I don't know. Miracle. So if you want to cure your nausea problem fast, check out Relief Band. Right now we've got an exclusive offer just for Brain Candy listeners. If you go to reliefband.com and use promo code CANDY, you'll receive 20% off plus free shipping. So head to RELIEFBAND.com and use our promo code CANDY for 20% off plus free shipping. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I know you folks like a warning. I have an interview at the end of this episode with the director of Last Stop Larramah.
Oh my gosh.
Best documentary I've seen in ages and ages. So
good.
Yeah, so just warning you, that will be happening later. People like to know
Australian?
that. He is American. His parents are Australian.
Oh, okay. Thought we were going to like get treated to an Australian accent.
No, just an old USA vibe, but still a delight.
Love it.
So anyway, Stallone, I think, you know that thing that people do when they're damaged from their childhood, where they're constantly trying to earn...
on.
Right. Yeah. Yes. I believe I know what you're referring to. Yeah.
How much time you got?
They are always sort of unconsciously probably seeking the love.
Acceptance and validation. And
totally.
Yes, 100%. And it doesn't matter because I'm thinking that he still hears the internal messages that were driven into his head as a child. Enough. Yep. And
and he said that. He's very self-aware, and he says, I think a lot of times people like me will start seeking like praise from, success and people around you, and you make a hit movie and you've got ladies or whatever telling you how great you are.
Yeah.
But he said it's insatiable, and I would do anything to get rid of it, but I can't.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure a lot of the regret stems from that. Because if you're focused on like movies, you're not with your kids. And he had a son that died and stuff like that. Yeah, man.
Okay, I could see the regret coming in there of, so this is what I work with clients on. This is
tell
what I
me.
work myself. Like,
What is the cure?
Myself,
Cure me quick.
When we look for others to define who we should be, what we should be,
your value,
our worth. Yes. It is chasing the wind, because it is like looking to a crowd to determine your favorite ice cream flavor. Everybody's answer is going to be different. Everybody's going to be like, no, this is the best. No, this is the best. No, this is the best. And at the end of the day, it's just you who has to really decide, because you're the one who has to eat the fucking ice cream. Like, and it's the same thing for life. Like, you can look for validation and confirmation that you are enough from everybody, but one person's enough will be different than another person's will be. And none of that actually satisfies you. And you have to decide what is enough for you.
What do you think it is about humans that makes us all want to be sure that we are enough? Like, I'm pretty sure animals aren't generally dealing with this. What is our problem?
It has to be, so there's a bell curve of anxiety and stress. And if you look at performance on one side and anxiety and stress on the other, I'm going to draw it right now. I do this, and if you have the video version of this, enjoy. And so it's like it goes like this. It's like a bell curve. And then this is like my very simple drawing of it. Mm-hmm. So in that center part of the bell curve, that middle part there, that's like the usable functional anxiety, the amount of stress and the amount of worry that's just right about like other people, like going, like it's things like, I live with other people, I better flush the toilet. Like
social pressures.
Those kind of stress or whatever it is. Or like, I don't want people to be mad at me. I better get here on time.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And or I won't yell in the middle of a auditorium because whatever. The world that we live in has pushed us into this place of stress and anxiety that becomes no longer function. Like we're not able to function. The functioning goes down. So in order to increase functioning, we're at the point where we have to like reduce stress and reduce the things that make us feel like not enough. And that's usually things like social media and advertising and, like
consumerism,
like the news and just things that are making you feel like not like less than because they benefit from that in some way, keeping you hooked on there. And so the cure is to get away from those things that tell you you're not enough. And first of all, step one, identify what's the story? Where do the messages come from? Oh, I should do this and this and this. Says who? Well, says what I see on social media. I should have a bra with built-in nipples. Fuck off with that. Social media says so. Okay. So I want to not feel the should pressure from social media. I got to reduce that. I got to limit that for my life. In a way, it's like setting a boundary with like a parent or a relative who's like, you should be this, you should be this, you should be that. You wouldn't fucking call them. You wouldn't hang out. You wouldn't talk to them. So you set that boundary there. And then by reducing that stress and that pressure, we can move into a place of more functional anxiety.
Yeah. Okay. That's good advice.
Long-winded, but
it's true though. And it's such a big problem. It drives a huge percentage of human behavior and human dysfunctional behavior.
If you are looking for a therapist, I am currently taking clients in the California area for individual, couple family, all that. And this is like, we can even do like a couple, 1 or 2 sessions. We just like bang, bang, bang. Do this in like a little chart just for you.
Turbo.
Identify the things. Yeah. Some people
Speed
think
therapy.
like therapy has to be like, oh, I'm like in it for a long time. Nah, sometimes you can just be like, I need assistance writing this all out, personalized. Here we go.
Okay. Well,
Get it.
they'd be
minutes
lucky to
from
have
now.
you.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I know. But I don't know that whenever I see someone with regret, it really moves me.
Yeah.
Because it's such a painful thing to experience and you can't go back. And what are you going to do about it?
Right.
And he, from all appearances, it seems like he's just kind of stuck in it. And I think that can come from like not resolving whatever it was that his dad did. What a jerk that guy was. Anyway.
And it's really hard when you get validation from such a big audience that feels so good. So it feels like that's where I should continue to put my energy, when really it's like you said, like it was time away from his family. That probably felt dangerous because in the past, family was dangerous for him.
Right, violence.
So he would have to. So what? Obviously, you're running. Your default brain is going, which one do I go for? Tons of validation over here and support my family financially, or this thing that feels really scary that I would have to manage a bunch of feelings through. I'm doing the other. Mm-hmm. And then you look back and you're like, oh shit, I should have. That wasn't.
I like when people share that though, because I do think it's relatable and it really does take him off that pedestal of like Rocky or Rambo or whatever. This is just like a guy who's,
You think Arnold has regrets in the same way?
I know that he regrets what happened with him having a child with someone other than Maria during his marriage. But definitely not like, I don't think he regrets like anything about missing family life or something.
Right, where he put his energy and what,
He does say that when he was governor that they were like, why aren't you at my soccer games and stuff? But he looks at it from his childhood and is like, you have so much.
Right.
You're Kennedy's. Zip it.
Yeah. Right, exactly. You have the resources. And maybe he's like helping others, in that sense.
I do think that's
not
pretty cool
self.
if you have a parent modeling how to be useful on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
But I guess it's about balance. Any hoodles, I recommend it if you're into that sort of thing. How about this? A Brainiac sent me this today and I was cracking up. The headline was, it took a team of female scientists to find the snake clitoris.
What? I have so many questions.
I was like, click. I have got to see this. So the sort of subtitle was a quote from somebody in the article.
And I believe it's pronounced clitoris.
Good one. The subtitle just said, it was a combination of not knowing what to look for and not wanting to, as far as like the male.
Please. The male scientists barely want to search for actual human clitorises. Clitori? I don't know. They're definitely giving up on where the snakes is. Please.
All right. Let me do my job, and then I will tell you where they found it. I'll tell you where you can find my AG1, and that is in my kitchen and in my stomach, because every morning we have a routine, and we get those vitamins on the go, baby.
I've been back at it.
Okay, good.
I'm back on the train.
You were a backslider.
Really good. Yep.
Back on.
And now I like do it with like a lot of like show, like very showy about it. I'm like
very performative.
Oh, yes, very performative drinking. I'm like, Eli, I hope you see me drinking my drink, being super healthy, and it feels good to like be braggy like that.
Yeah, well, you should brag because she's getting prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, vitamins, supplements, whatever. Everything your body wants and craves, you can get first thing in the morning or whenever you want, whenever you remember. And you will thank us. AG1 is the supplement we trust to provide our body its daily needs, and that's why they've been our partner for so long. If you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/braincandy. That's drinkag1.com/braincandy. Check it out. And you can always look for all of our partners on our website. I just updated that last week, so they should all be there.
I've been shopping like a fiend on there.
I know. It's like so handy, and it's so helpful to us. So please do. Thank you for everyone that already does.
Yes.
Okay, so these gals, these researchers, wanted to get to the bottom of it, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, the male researchers thought that these items on their bodies were scent glands or...
Oh!
It gets worse.
Or what?
Underdeveloped penises.
No! Which, okay.
I mean...
Wow.
It's just classic.
And then women were like, no. You fucking idiots. We know
Weirdo.
exactly what this is. We have one. Oh, I've seen that. All right. We don't even have the right anatomy parts on... We talked about this on Things We Got Wrong. We don't even have the right anatomy parts labeled in human clitoral anatomy books.
Right? Oh my gosh, Sarah, at the end of this article, it said, by the way, I don't even know why they put it in here, but it said, anyway, also, it turns out that women have 20% more nerve endings down there than they were thought to. Hold on, I quoted it.
Okay.
Based on the research on cows. So.
Yeah.
Good work, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, can we get a little bit of attention over here?
I did find myself defending them, though, briefly, because, it was attributing all of it to patriarchy and sexism, and I have to say, they are harder to find than penises.
This is correct, but it's the assumption that's like if you saw a snake that had, I don't know, a part of the ear that looked like a human part, you'd be like, oh, that's in the same place. That's probably similar to this. But the fact that they totally don't even...
Right, they don't consider it. Yeah. It doesn't occur to them.
That's the problem.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like, usually we have the problem of personifying. Humifying is not a word. That was almost hilarious and adorable. So it was like what a humidifier does to a room. It's like a greenhouse effect right there. Personify. But we have the problem of over personification when it comes to animals. And this is we've managed to dehumanize a snake even more, away from being a woman even more. We're more familiar with snakes than we are with female anatomy is what that tells me.
Maybe because the snake is so, what's that word that means penis?
Phallic.
Oh.
They didn't even think that it was
Yeah. Like if it were a peach.
Yeah.
Or something that is
Speaking of, this is a totally an aside, but I have to share this because it popped in my mind. I was shopping for Christmas gifts, and I thought a fun one for my friends who bake would be these little bread basket warmers that you put in. They're terracotta. You put in the oven, they heat up, and then you put them in. How adorable is that, right?
Yeah.
So fun. The images that you could choose from are it says bread or it's a lighthouse.
Stop.
Everybody's getting dick bread warmers this year. Because come on, a lighthouse.
So
there's no other image that you could cut. And then I think there's another one that's
eggplant.
kitty cat.
Oh.
Okay. Bread warming company. This is, I will send you the link. It is so, I was like.
They're not even being subtle.
Not at all. I'm like, my options are pussy or lighthouse dick. I mean, I'm buying this for my lesbian friend, so obviously the pussy, but. Come on.
If I have to choose. Wow, that is.
Isn't that the last thing?
See, that's the kind of stuff you need to put on your Insta story. I live for that.
Okay, I've also realized that I need to do that because things that I think are like, oh, who wants to watch this? I'm realizing I'm watching people, content creators, make stuff that I'm like, why am I? I'm watching like hours of this.
The same. It's very funny.
People would like to see this, so get ready.
Yeah.
Maybe
get ready for some phallic bread.
Dick pics, sort of. Yeah. When you see it, you're going to be like, that's a penis in a bread bowl.
They should have one that's like Dick Cheney, like one that's an eggplant.
And also there's like 2 companies that make these online. It's not like this is this is like the only company that does it.
Artwork.
This is it. And then I no joke, after that, Googled terracotta clay because I was like, I will make my own. I'm going into business.
Sarah's getting a potter's wheel.
Yeah, this is the ADHD
That's what I'll get
problem.
you for Christmas.
Yeah. Oh my God. Stop. That's so funny. Okay. That is, I don't even know. We got off. We were talking about penises. We're talking about snakes. We're talking about phallic stuff. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Okay. So what's weird is snakes not only have a clitoris, they have 2. It's called a
Those lucky bitches.
I know. Save some for the rest. Couldn't you make one of them an arm or something? Like it's
okay,
like
wait.
they put it
Hang
all
on a second. 0 legs, but 2 clitoris?
Seems a bit much.
Yeah.
You know? But, okay, so what's crazy is that the men have 2 wieners, I guess. It's the same thing, like a hemi something. It's a cut in half kind of deal.
Well, have you seen their tongues?
Wrong.
This makes sense.
Yeah, maybe it's like that. Okay, but here's the craziest part of all. They were like...
Their tongue split so they can lick each of them at the same time. That's what I was thinking, and I don't think you got it.
No, I didn't. I thought
got
you were
it
just
so
like...
their tongue split so they can be like... Take care of both. I mean, what a waste if you only have one.
Sarah, but like I actually think it might be true.
What? Tell me why. Oh, wait. No. Because actually, are there any other... Susie, I'm going to go ahead and say Sarah has a theory here. Are there any other animals that have split tongues?
Right.
Are there any other animals that have 2 penises and 2...
Right.
If this isn't an argument for why everybody should
intelligent
be
design.
Given... Yeah, right.
Right.
This is like my joke of like, why do gorillas have big nostrils? Because they have big fingers. So why do
tongues have split tongues?
Because they got 2 penises.
Right.
The better to lick them with.
Okay, focus. Listen.
I'm sorry, but that sounds like science.
Yeah. I think so. Well, Kara McSweeney's going to be like rage typing to us. She's our zookeeper friend.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay. Did I call her Tara? It's Kara. Anyway.
No, you were right. You said Kara.
So evidently their hemi-penises, or whatever they're called, have like barbed wire around them or whatever. They have like spikes and stuff.
I've heard this about ducks' penises, I think, and cats too. They're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Right.
So like the researchers were trying to figure out like why do they have these clitorises, which is always an annoying question for me. It's just like, why do you ask that? Just let them be. Let them live and enjoy their lives. But anyway, they were like, basically they might need a lot of lube and stuff to deal with the spines and hooks that are on the...
What? Come on. So
real, that's what it said.
Okay. So you've got to... But that...
Because it'll stimulate the production of lubrication. I think that's what they said.
That feels more like one's a fail-safe. Like if one doesn't work, the other one works. Because if it were just more, then they would just have more glands, like more secretion. They were wondering why they have any. Oh, I see.
And they're saying that because they need so much lube. Because these guys have hook penises or whatever.
Well, now we need to go on the lookout for clitorises in other animals.
Yeah, we need more information.
This is like, the guys who were... Here's what we need to do. We need to get the guys who are jacking off the turtles with the vibrators together with the people who are trying to find the clitoris, and...
Yeah.
I'll put it all on film, and somehow
they are hidden by a flap. They could only find them during dissection.
Okay, a clitoral hood. This makes sense.
Yeah, right. We know what these are.
Familiar. Got it. And like, but through by dissection, yeah, unless you are turning it on, same. I hate that I have so much in common with a snake. Ugh.
I know. Sarah and I had a lot in common when we were in Denver because we were both wearing our Honey Love pants.
Yes, we did. We wore those to our sound bath. It was very nice.
Yeah, listen, didn't I have the greatest idea? Because as you may have seen, I when we went out on the town,
yes,
I was wearing very cute like slacks.
Yeah, you were wearing wide leg trousers. Yes, high waisted.
But it was freaking freezing.
Right.
So I put my Honey Love leggings on underneath, and I was warm as heck.
Right.
That
those
was actually
would have
really
been wind tunnels if you didn't.
For real. So that was, I was glad I had them, but I also just love to have them for travel and to be cozy and comfy. This is like the perfect legging. It holds you in, supports you. Yes. It doesn't show any of your underpants, and you don't even have to wear
underwear.
Yeah.
And like, not like other people say, for real. Like,
yeah,
even snakes with 2 clitorises could probably wear these.
They could pull these off.
I mean, they don't have legs, but...
Right, it's just a one. Just hanging their head out the top. But they have amazing shapewear, shorts, bras, whatever you need. And they even have a dress. And we are thankful for them this holiday season. Makes a great gift. Treat yourself to the best bras and shapewear on the market and save up to 50% off site-wide at honeylove.com/braincandy this month only. Inventory is limited and the sale ends soon, so don't miss their best deals of the year. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about us. I mean, them. Yeah. You have to say, please support our show. Tell them we sent you. It's time to ditch the underwear for good thanks to Honey Love. You know, when they're like, where did you hear about it? You say podcast.
I love going on to like any of our sponsors then when they ask me that and saying Brain Candy. Like, I imagine their marketing team then going, hey, we got to go tell the gals at Brain Candy that they're doing great. And like their listeners are like getting the good stuff.
It does matter. Yeah.
Right.
It's like, I think of that movie Elf when he had to make those Etch-a-Sketches and they were like tracking them. How many did you make? It's like that, but with our podcast. So help us out anyway.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So snakes are gross. We already knew that. Whatever. Okay. Now, would you like to hear? Ooh, there's so many options. How about I've already talked about it, I think, but there's a great Vice series called The Dark Side of Comedy.
Oh, I want to see this. I really want to see this.
Great episodes.
I'm nervous to watch it though. Is anybody going to be ruined for me? Am I going to be sad? Because a documentary Noisy did it to me a little bit about music.
What?
Oh, you should definitely watch this.
Say this again?
It's a Vice series called Noisy.
Oh, why did it ruin music?
Well, it's like the behind the curtain, like especially with like electronic and EDM, like those like club, like what, they're all sad. They're all depressed.
No.
Yeah.
The DJs?
Yeah. Avicii.
I would be sad too if I had to listen to that crap all the time.
Well, I
mean, wonder why they're so sad. Sarah, what? Yeah. Drugs?
No, I think it's that external validation. It's like everybody wanting
because you're the party person. Yeah.
And who are you if you're not
sad clown?
Yes.
That's what this is about.
So that's it. It's the same thing. It's like being the artist presenting the art. Like the thing. The reason why we're so moved by comedy, art, music, whatever it is because it evokes, it like talks to us somewhere deep, like whether it's surprises us or something unexpected or makes us think in a different way. It
taps into what it is to be a person, like a spiritual thing. Yeah.
And in order for somebody to present that, they have to have that person experience, which in and of itself is so painful and terrible.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about it now, but next time I'm going to talk about this article I read about that and comedy and truth and what who is authentic on stage and whatever. It's so fascinating, but it would take forever to talk about it now.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait till next time.
But you're speaking to the thesis of it, which is just like, do you have to tell the truth when you're doing comedy and all that stuff?
Is this about Carlos Mencia?
No, but that's hilarious.
No, I just read this article about him because
How
he
he
was
steals
one who
jokes.
disappeared because of that same, of like authenticity on.
Well, the picture in the article was of that Hassan Minaj, you know. 'cause
Oh,
he's
I'm
been
going to see him on
accused-
Friday.
Oh, interesting.
I will report back.
Okay, because
Yes.
he's been accused of falsifying stories where he experienced racism, according to him.
Right.
And then he basically said, you're full of it.
Right.
And you don't have, it spoke to the essence of truth. Anyway, whatever. We'll talk about it.
Oh, I can't. It's going to be interesting.
But I love the Dark Side of Comedy series because you can pick whoever you enjoy. And I have always wondered what happened to the female comic Brett Butler. Do you remember her? She starred in that sitcom.
Yes, I loved that show.
Right.
She
Grace
was such a
Under Fire.
badass.
She was such a badass. She was so smart, but she had that Southern thing, which Leanne Morgan has. I just think it's funny.
Oh, Suze, I was going to text you this. Just yesterday, I woke up with Leanne Morgan as my internal monologue, and I only spoke in an accent, and everything I said was, well,
funnier.
Eli wants to do unspeakable things. It's like everything was with an accent, yes.
Yeah.
So, anyways, love it. What happened
Brett
to her?
Butler had a sitcom in the 90s called Grace Under Fire, and it was so good, but she was tempestuous, you know, like she was a real fireball, and she got fired from her own show. And do you know how much you have to do for a studio to be like, that's it, we're making millions, but we're not going to do this anymore? Like, you have to be terrible.
Yeah.
Like, but it's usually the women like Roseanne and Brett that like get actually fired. But you do have to really push it pretty far to have that happen. And she acknowledges it. Like, she was horrible. Oh, no. And, you know, she suffered from addiction, and it's Hollywood's
you could see
tough.
that. You could see it.
Yeah. So
I remember that.
I couldn't believe it though, when at the very beginning, like they're sort of setting up the scene, and then there she is in the interview, and she's like, I'm Brett Butler. And I hadn't seen her in 20 years.
I want to see that. Oh,
And
I
it
got
was like,
goosebumps.
this woman has been through it, and she's sober, and she's like surviving. But I mean, this is not like a happy ending, really. It's like, this is what I was saying about how people think Britney will be, you know, she gets out of her conservatorship,
that
and
is
then
not
she's
a
going to
happy
be fine.
ending. Nope, that is not a happy ending.
And I think that where it's complex, where yes, somebody's sober, or yes, somebody's free from their legal whatever, but there's still really difficult things going on.
Right.
Whether
Didn't you
it's
say
mental
Adele
health
said it when she got sober? She was like, yeah, and life's like boring. Everything's really boring.
I don't remember that.
I think you said that, or something.
Really? So she's sober, but she's like, let me just give it to you straight.
Yeah,
it's not
boring.
Okay.
You
I
told me
appreciate
this.
that honesty. I don't remember saying that, but I like it. I'm not saying I didn't, Sarah.
No,
I forget stuff all the time.
Right, but like, I talked to like 4 people, so you know, maybe it's not you.
Right,
but
I'm a
maybe
prime
it's, like,
suspect.
yeah, but I do this sometimes. Where I'm like,
I think that I just really like stories, though, that are a little bit messier, where it isn't just like, and now it's great, because this is more of the truth. Like, this is really what life can do to people.
yeah,
And we're all vulnerable to it. And she's just having to deal with she'll say it, like the consequences of my behavior. And she has no money, and she's just like got nothing. And she is kind of unwell, like, and so she can't really work.
Oh,
you know, she does a little bit, but not too much.
but not how can right? I think
She had a
lot
GoFundMe, you know, just because. And everyone's like, really? You're GoFunding me $50,000 and you had 25 million that you like pissed away? That's tough.
Right.
How do you reconcile that?
Right. It is
Really?
that, because you know, you think when somebody was like famous for that where they made some good decisions to invest or save for the future or something. Because when you were talking about that Milli Vanilli documentary and you were like, they got a nice house and I don't know, one of them, Milli or Vanilli. It's like, look, living the good life, like still on. I wonder what has to happen for that to be the case. And if it's different with television and movies, like this is why they strike. Because there could have been some different, I don't know, like how they made like what happened, what residuals and all that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was part of it, though, is that, you know how you have to get to 100 episodes and then you are set for life because you have those residuals in the syndication?
Yeah.
They got to 95 and she fucked it all up.
My God.
And all the other actors on that show are screwed too because of her.
Holy fuck.
So everybody's paying for her.
Oh my God. That's painful.
You know.
That's painful.
It is painful. It is almost worse than never having anything at all. You know? Taste of honey.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to introduce the director from Last Stop Larramah.
So cool.
And I keep trying to think, how do I get it across to people how great this film is? And here's my pitch. Initially, you go into it with this idea of like Tiger King, wackadoo personalities in this wacky town in Australia.
Yeah.
And it's a true crime. It's a murder mystery. And it's like Clue. Everyone's a suspect. And it is like what you go in for.
And everyone really is a suspect. You're like,
everyone
I could see
is
them.
a suspect.
I could see them doing it.
But what made me moved was that I told him in the interview, I think Earth is the Larramah of the universe.
Oh, yeah.
We are so stupid. We are fighting about meat pies.
Right. 100%.
And aliens or God or whoever is looking down being like, get it together. What are you doing?
Right.
And so for me, when I watch the people in Larramah, I don't think like these people are crazy. I think we're all so crazy. Because part of what makes people behave like that is something Sarah and I know very well. Isolation and a lack of distraction that comes from having nothing else to do on the challenge and stuff like that. And you either have to believe they're crazy and I'm not, or that you would be just as crazy if you were in their circumstances, which is what I try to tell people about when you watch reality TV.
No, that you will be just as crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody is.
And then when I found out that he had worked on Fear Factor, it really did make me feel like, okay, I can talk to him about why this connected on the reality TV component, and he'll know what I mean. So that was fun.
Oh, super cool.
If you haven't watched it yet, please do, because you will get the crazy stuff. You can enjoy just the spectacle of it. Or you can have the same feeling that I did, where these people are older, they're looking back on their lives in the way that we talked about with Stallone, and thinking, I didn't know how lucky I was, or I shouldn't have done that, or I got caught up in petty bullshit. And now what? Now what do I have? That's powerful to me. I will bring him out in a moment. But first, I just want to say that you should all buy Thrive Cosmetics. After I talk about my existential struggle, may I suggest some amazing mascara?
Yeah, you know, if you're like crying your way through life, why not tube up your lashes so that they're not smearing or running? Like, I was just going through, I was cleaning out my makeup bag just today, and I was like, oh, this is turquoise, 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 turquoise.
Their packaging is very distinctive.
Turquoise.
Oh my
what
gosh.
else? Turquoise. This is everything that it's all I use. It's so simple, and I've got it down to like 5 products.
So funny.
Boom, boom, boom. That's it.
Really nice, high quality stuff. They look great on. The mascara is the best you'll ever try. They have great lipstick, the brilliant eye brightener. You'll love everything. That's all. Cozy up your look with Thrive Cosmetics, luxury beauty that gives back. Right now, you get an exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/braincandy. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/braincandy for 20% off your first order. Because, yeah, they give back. They do awesome work in the community. Okay, so welcome to the show, the director of Last Stop Larramah, Thomas Tancred. OMG. Okay, Thomas, thank you so much for coming on Brain Candy. This is the best day ever. You're a genius. You know how like men always sit around talking about how each other is a genius, but like you actually are. Your masterpiece is phenomenal. How are you feeling? Are you getting all this love and finally feeling validated?
Yeah, it feels good when people like it. I don't know if I'm a genius. A lot of people help me put this thing together, but it's so great to like hear, people like you watched it and they connected with it. It's great. After 5 years, it's a good feeling.
That is for sure. I don't know how you stuck with it all that time. That is a real labor of love for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But here's why you're so awesome. You were real sneaky because you pulled that bait and switch where it was like, oh yeah, it's like a whodunit, true crime, whatever. And then next thing I know, I'm like thinking about mortality and like my whole life is like existential crisis, whatever. And I just wondered, was that your intention all along I know that they have this colorful cast.
Yeah.
So it welcomes those character
Yeah.
things.
The plan was always to try to make it a portrait of the town and have this murder mystery coincide with it. But a friend of mine who's an editor gave me a really nice compliment saying that like you always set off trying to make it that like something that's like a portrait with this other thing, and then because of whatever happens, it ends up just being a murder mystery. So I was happy we still got to get the town and the people and kind of use the murder mystery as like almost like this engine that's kind of pulling you through the story, which then allows you to then, meet these different characters and, get to know a little bit more about them.
Yeah, and get to know ourselves because
Yeah.
I felt like they are just a reflection of, the human condition. And
Definitely.
I was thinking about how, you end up thinking like, I can't believe they're fighting about meat pies or whatever. Yeah. And then I thought, don't you feel like Earth is sort of like the Larramah of the universe, and we're down here fighting about the dumbest stuff and missing like the big picture,
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I think, it's such a small town and they've all been there for so long, and, they moved there to get away from society pretty much. And they probably, at the beginning it was this little idyllic little kind of like micro society, but, over time, I almost think of it as like a high school with like the oldest people ever, and like they're just bickering over stuff that, maybe to some people won't mean a lot, but to them it's their whole world. So that was a big part of it, of just seeing how like over the time these relationships were fractured and sides were chosen. And I'm just really happy that like what you're saying, like you connected with that whole thing, like the whole time during making it. I was just thinking, it's such a strange thing that, like, why did Patty move to that town? Like, why that night? There's so many just like weird kind of like serendipitous things that happened that sadly led to him going missing. It's just all these things one after another.
So do you think that it's the case that if you're the kind of person who would be attracted to that kind of life in a small, teeny tiny, remote place, that you're maybe not great at getting along with other people?
No, I think here's what I think. And, this is just my thinking on it. I think that the way you and I are, like, I live in Los Angeles. Do you live in Los Angeles too?
Not anymore, no.
Not anymore. But anyway, we're still in America and we have our phones and we have traffic and we have all these things that we're kind of dealing with all the time. And I think what happens there is you have less stuff to kind of muddle your mind. So these little fights that happened, 10 years ago are still in the forefront.
Right.
And, like, for example, Bobby and Carl live right across the street from Barry, and they both really do not like each other. So imagine, for 20 years having to see your enemy every day. Every time you walk out of the house, you have to look up and see that person. So I think a lot of it just comes with the close proximity of how they all live.
Yeah. I was thinking too, because I read that you have a background in reality TV, as do I.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know this might sound like a stretch, but the situation that they're in is not unlike when we're stuck in the house, in the real world of the challenge or whatever, right?
That is a great point. I never thought of that. Yeah, no, that is a great point. Drama happens quicker when you're stuck in a place together.
And you have nothing else to do and no internet or whatever.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's actually a really good way of thinking of it. Yeah, it's funny because, they all are there and, they did try to get along for a while, but, circumstances, they chose sides and kind of led to what happened.
Right. And when people often watch our shows, they think these people are animals. They're so uncivilized and what is wrong with them? But I kind of related to these people in a way, for that reason.
No, that is so funny you say that. Because now I'm like thinking back on like other friends I've worked with on shows and, even, let's say The Bachelor. It's like I've heard like people who come off that show are just like, what was I thinking? Like, like why was I in love with that person? But it's like you're just there and the drama grows.
And it's Narnia and you get hung up on dumb, petty nonsense.
Yeah.
But they're not different. We're all like this. We just aren't usually in that particular situation, I think.
Exactly. And then the other thing too, it's like, nobody would have ever heard of them or this situation unless, something terrible happened, like Patty went missing, I'm sure these fights are, the fights that happen in every little town across the world.
When I was thinking, because after I watched your film for 3 times, then I start like reading the TripAdvisor reviews of the Pink Panther Hotel and all that. And then I realized that Patty's disappearance was big news for some reason. Even like the Washington Post was covering the trial aspect and when the evidence came out more recently with the recordings. And I just wondered why you think that might be. Why was it so compelling?
I mean, I think it is just the kind of Agatha Christie aspect of the story of, a town of 10 people, one goes missing. They're all suspects, like that line instantly kind of jumps out at you. That's what jumped out at me when I first read about it. I was just scrolling through Twitter and I saw that headline and, I grew up in the States, but both my parents are from Australia. So I instantly was like, whoa, what is this story? But and then I just think, for me personally, it was then I started going down the rabbit hole and I started seeing these characters and the residents and what they were like. And also that, I think they have less of a filter probably than some of us have.
Yeah.
Which, and also this kind of gallows humor, like what was really interesting to me, like as I was going there for the first time and meeting these people and interviewing them, like, a lot of them didn't like Patty. And, I think in the States, there's kind of this, don't speak ill of the dead thing. And there, it's almost like it didn't exist. They were happy to tell me, every bad thing and that happened between them, which I found very interesting.
I find it kind of refreshing, to be honest.
Yeah, totally.
I know it's not polite, but it's the truth.
Yeah, totally.
It's their truth, at least,
Yeah. And why, change your story because somebody went missing? It is kind of refreshing that they didn't change what they're saying. And like, that's kind of, there's one part in the film where Fran is kind of saying, the news is kind of saying Patty was this great guy. And she's like, I'm not sure if I can curse, but, like bullshit, these people are not, or like Patty is not this great guy who everybody loved, which I feel he was kind of portrayed that way when the news first hit.
It's funny to me though that maybe they like he's both, right? He was charming and
yes, 100%. And I'm so happy you said that too, because when I say stuff like, he was like whatever, a jerk, like we're all jerks, right?
Yeah,
like we can be good one day and we can be bad the next. And I think that's a really important thing about this story is what I kind of think is like, I think Patty would have been like a really great friend to have, but I think if he didn't like you, I know he could be pretty scary. So I think
Yeah.
it's just which side of the fence you sat with Patty. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's part of why I think you are so brilliant, and the work that you did was so important, was because there isn't a villain, a clear,
Yeah.
bad guy, good guy situation.
Yeah.
And that's the truth of life, man. That we're
Yeah,
all
totally.
both.
Yeah, and going back to like what we were talking about earlier too, it's like, I've been working in unscripted, since I graduated college. And the thing that happens a lot is you have these great kind of character pieces that you make as you're creating a show, and a lot of them just get cut out because you just need to get to like whatever side thing or whatever is happening. And that's why I'm happy we were allowed to actually kind of settle with these characters and get to know them and hopefully like them. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you feel that the story progressed in a way that you predicted, or did you feel like it kept going sideways and you didn't see it coming?
Oh, it kept going. It kept changing. As I said, in the realm of documentary, I know 5 years isn't a lot to work on something, but yeah, it was constantly changing, and also, people would tell me one thing and I had to kind of think, do I trust this person? Like one of the residents would tell me one thing and then one of the residents would tell me something else. And that's what I like about the film too, is that you're hearing their perspectives, right? It's like, there isn't like one solid truth, you have one perspective, I have one. Well, let's hear both and let the viewer kind of decide on which one they believe. Because personally, like that's my favorite type of doc, I remember the first time watching Capturing the Freedmans, and that's a great one where you are fighting yourself in your head the whole time. You're like, oh my God, this guy did it. Oh my God, he didn't do it. He's a nice guy. Oh wait, he did do it, So I really like that kind of back and forth that you can play with yourself.
But it's not easy to do. It was masterful how you accomplished it. And I was very grateful for, in particular, Richard, his role in it for me as a viewer. It just felt helpful. And he drove narrative at different points. And I thought, I'm so glad he's here to tell us this stuff. I don't know why. It's just I connected with his telling.
This is like, just, this is very cool for me to hear because I haven't talked to many people about the film yet. And my favorite, let's just call it character in the film, might be Richard, because he almost has the biggest arc in a way where you meet him and some people think he's scary, and I would show early cuts to the film and people would like, oh, you got to get rid of that Richard guy. He's too scary. And I was like, well, no, like he's great. And also I hope by the end of the film, you kind of have the realization that like, okay, maybe this guy has had his problems in the past, but also he's just been through a ton, and I hope you kind of feel that. So I'm very thankful that you kind of felt that watching the film.
My perception of him was that he was maybe the most self-aware. He's no dummy, that's for sure. And he had sort of this way of describing this situation that was outside of it.
Yeah, I mean, he is a very, very smart guy. And I think with that kind of gruff, exterior, people will think one thing about him, which a lot of us do about a lot of people. But like one of the funniest moments in making the film, there's a section in the film where we kind of do this kind of funny kind of like time travel-y thing with Richard, where he's saying what Larramah was like. And I always had that thing where he starts talking about like liquid going through sodium pentothal and it slows it down. And I was like, what is he talking about? I was like, and then I was like, is he just making this up? And then I started doing research. And then in the film, I found that YouTube video made by Harvard where they pretty much exactly say what he's saying. And I was like, whoa, Richard is actually onto something here. So yeah, Richard was he was the last resident that we got to. He didn't want to talk to us for, I would say, years or a year. He's kind of nomadic. Nobody really knows where he lives. But our producer, Rebecca Saunders, she tracked him down. And it was a very interesting thing because we, most of the time filming, we were in the Northern Territory, which is obviously the north of Australia, but he's in Western Australia. So we flew there kind of like he said he would be there, and I was hoping he would be there. And then all of a sudden he was like, told our Becca, like, hey, meet me at this place. And he was just there. And I was like, wow, he's actually here. And then I got into the car with him, and that footage you see in the film with like him driving, like that's just me with the camera sitting there. And he was driving so fast that he lost our crew. So then part of me was like, oh my God, where is this guy taking me? I just met this guy. But yeah, I know I really like Richard, and I'm so thankful that he allowed us to interview him and kind of show us around where he lived.
Yeah, and I think it's a real testament to the care that you gave to everything, that they all trusted you and opened up to you, because that was critical to the storytelling, is having them be candid, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the keys with that was, we got there kind of after the dust settled, after the media had been there kind of like annoying everybody. And also, the key thing there was to keep the crew like super duper small. So it was only me, maybe, a producer or two, and then just the Aussie crew that we got there. Shout out to them, Jesse Goyer Fleet, who was our DP, who kind of like wrangled this whole crew. And so there was maybe, 5 of us there, 6 of us there. And slowly we just got to know the people. One of the interesting things is, the first person who agreed to talk to me was Barry. And Barry said he'd talk to me. And then I got there, and he was the only friend that would talk to me. So, but none of Patty's other friends would talk.
Yeah.
But all of his enemies would talk to me. So I found that really funny at first, that like the only person that would talk to me were his enemies. But then slowly, as it's such a small town, they would see me, filming B-roll, and I just go over and say hi, talk to them. And by the end, it was just like, Tom, come in for a cup of tea. Oh, next time, don't even stay at the hotel, stay at our place. Like they really were just like the kindest group of people.
Have you received feedback from them about their thoughts?
Yes. Oh my God. And I was so terrified.
I would be too.
Yeah. Cause they allowed me, into their lives and told me kind of their secrets. And I was really, I'm not, black-hearted where I'm just like, I don't care, I'm going to make a film about these people. So yeah, I've heard from a couple of them, and they're all just like, they really like it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all really like kind, just like, you did a great job just kind of showing us, and we're appreciative of you coming here and telling our story. I think part of it is that, it's not just a murder mystery. It's about the town and the people. And I think they're appreciative of that. But yeah, that was like, when I first got the email from one of the residents, I was like, oh no. And then I read it and I was like, okay, cool. Thank God they liked it.
Right. And I imagined whenever I was watching that final segment with, I still call Australia my home, I could cry right now. I do. I get emotional at that section every time, because I think if I was one of those residents and I was watching this, I would be really emotional, because you provide this retrospective of their life and where they came from and where they are now. And that thing that we're all going to have to face of looking back, and like, maybe you have regrets, or maybe, I don't know, it's heavy. And don't you think they probably saw that and felt like it was special? It's nice to have a soundtrack to your life.
Yeah. And I think one of the keys is is ending the film on a slightly positive note. That was always like important to me. Early on, I would kind of joke with Becca and our editor that, I forget which film it is. It's like something about Mary, where they end with like, outtakes of like, fill me up, buttercup. And I was like, well, like we can't do that, but how can we still make it happy? And, I get emotional watching that scene because like, my parents are both from Australia. My dad's no longer around and my mom has Alzheimer's, but that was like the song growing up that like, if I turn that on, like my mom would just start crying.
No.
So like, yeah. So that's kind of like my little kind of love letter to my parents at the end there. Just so
it's
like,
beautiful. But go ahead. Sorry.
But the other thing that's kind of tricky about that song is I was really scared how the Australians would react to that,
Oh.
because it's kind of like not a hokey song in Australia, but it's like when you fly Qantas, like it's just playing. It's just playing like an instrumental version of it. So I was scared, like, oh my God, are they going to hate this song? But I think in the context of the story, it does work at the end.
Yeah, and musically, even just the first few bars of it, you realize, okay, we're gonna have a moment here.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I can't even tell you. But
thank you.
but it also is not like you're saying it wasn't too light. The levity was just enough, because what it's doing is saying, like, the life continues and people, their lives end and new people are there, and that's the wheels of life, right?
Yeah, the like eternal circle of everything, and like the regrowth of the population, and and a lot of it is kind of maybe looking back on like life, like exactly what you're saying, like, did I make the right choices? Now I'm here,
Yes. And am I going to forgive? Or, like, Billy has new feelings of affection, good terms with a resident. That wasn't the case in the beginning of the film, right?
Yeah, no, I love that at the end that he's living back at Fran's place, and they have kind of like made up a bit, and he's living in the place where he was kicked out of, and he's still kind of thinking about her. It really is like very, very cute. Like, I love he still loves her, he truthfully does. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's too much. I can't take it.
Yeah, all the stuff they've been through. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
What I want to know also, just logistically, is how these people like pay their bills.
I don't exactly know that. I mean,
that's the real mystery.
Like that, like the pub is also a post office, so they can send out their mail through there. I mean, all of them own their places, so there's no like renting of stuff. So, yeah, but I mean, they all just kind of like, the thing I always find funny about the film, or about the residents, is like most of them just kind of popped in for a beer and never left. And that, and like I just love the idea of that, of just like stopping in a town and just being like, yeah, I'm going to spend the rest of my life here. I always find that so funny.
Well, in thinking about like the thing that I mentioned earlier about the reality TV component, and the way that a director or producer has to provoke the person on camera to share their story or to share their point of view.
Yeah.
But then like you're left at the end with whatever the footage you get and the interviews you get. And then to what extent, like, can you determine the narrative? I'm fascinated by it, obviously, because my life has been portrayed in that way.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's like, as I have worked in unscripted for a while, and the reason why I kind of wanted to get out of the unscripted realm I was in is because you're forcing it a lot. You're telling this person, meet at this location, talk about this.
Yeah.
And it's forced. And I wanted to be more verite. So, I did have my list of questions. I did have certain things I wanted to get to. But, in the construction of it, we're not, faking anything.
Yeah, it's not contrived.
It's like, yeah. It's not, putting words in people's mouths. Like, the thing I like that happens a couple times in the film, it's like somebody's kind of talking about a subject, and then another character kind of finishes it off because they kind of have the same or different perspective on things. So, yeah, that was a key part of it, of just like not forcing it, just sitting with these people, just letting them know that like I'm, I don't really have an objective here. I'm just trying to make something, and I'm trying to figure it out just like they are. And I think they understood that.
Yeah. And again, they must have trusted you to share so openly. Yeah. Or again, I'm sure they're being uncensored type of people. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, that definitely helped.
Do you feel like, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, like, logistics wise, for us, it was really hard because, I live in America and this is so far away. So we would, fly to Australia, which is, 13, 16 hours, and then hop on a connecting flight that was like 4 or 5 hours, and then have to drive 6 hours. And then our first trip there, we're going to shoot 4K. And, I talked to a bunch of people. They're like, okay, if you buy, this amount of hard drive, you should be good to go. And then our first day we shot so much, our DP came up to me, Jesse, and he was like, hey man, we can't shoot 4K anymore. And I was like, well, can't we just go to the closest, like, whatever, Best Buy? And he was like,
Best Buy.
It'll be like, 6 hours there, 6 hours back. So no, so like that was an interesting part of filming in a location like this too. And also I originally wanted to film with a certain camera, and Jesse grew up in that area. And he'd shot something up there fairly recently before I came. And he said, no, we can't shoot on that camera because recently I shot there and like the body of the camera melted.
No.
Yeah. So we had to use like a heavier duty camera. Yeah.
I mean, in the end, I suppose the way you got access, having it be so remote and like nobody else having gotten there yet, is then what made it challenging.
Yeah.
What do you think
100%.
it was that made it appealing to the Duplass brothers? Why do you think it was a good fit?
It's so funny. It's like when I first found this story, I wanted to somehow get to them. Just because I loved Wild Wild Country, I loved Evil Genius, and I just like the idea of doing it at not a giant kind of like, I don't know, more kind of like suited up place, let's call it. So I think it was just, the Agatha Christie aspect of it. I know Mark originally like really kind of really liked that too. And then also originally we're trying to almost like tell like a Rashomon version of the story where you're hearing like one person's version and that person's version, and that kind of evolved over time. But yeah, I mean, when I first had kind of a sizzle reel, or like a sales reel, I would go around and have meetings, and I met them, and it was like one of those fun experiences I'll always remember, because it's not a giant, crazy building. It's very intimate where they work. And I went up in the attic of where they work, and it's like Mark Duplass sitting on a couch like, hey man, how's it going?
That's so cool.
So like instantly it just felt like the right fit. Yeah.
That's so good. I just hope that you realize that all your hard work was worth it, and that it's such a special thing that you did. Because I know it took a long time, and there's probably a lot of days where you were like sick of it. Oh
yeah, there were many times. No, thank you so much. I mean, it's so cool to speak to somebody like you who the film connected with, and just talking to you. That's just like the best feeling.
I just hope you keep making stuff, because you are so good at it.
Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully I get to.
We have one question we ask everybody, which is, what do you keep in the trunk of your car? Do you have a car?
The trunk of my car. Let's see. Well, I've got 2 little kids, so there's like an extra Patagonia jacket.
Yeah.
That the kids use as a pillow. There's usually a scooter, a basketball.
Yes.
And I think that's about it. Yeah.
It's
nothing truly exciting.
No, it's usually like indicative of where people are in their life. So we think it's a fun thing to find out.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I know what you mean. I got a scooter in the back of mine too.
Yeah.
It's a kid thing.
Yeah,
but
of course.
You're wonderful. I will never stop singing your praises. I hope everybody sees your film and just keeps clapping for you.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, it was so cool to talk to you.
Thank you. You're off the hook.